Have you always wanted to start your own business? Do you have an innovative idea or an invention, but just don't know how to turn it into a company? Are you already in business and need some help growing? The BRF's Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program can help. At EAP, we work alongside you, helping you with things like financial modeling, funding strategy, pitch preparation, and marketing strategy. So what are you waiting for? Go to eapla.com today and set up a time to talk with our team. Let EAP help you launch or grow your business in North Louisiana today.
Welcome back to On The Cusp. I've got my co-host Matt Snyder with me back.
Still here, baby.
And today, this is going to be a really exciting episode because we've got Brandon Wakefield from Precision Waste, and he's got an incredible story to tell. And I'll tell you, Brandon, a lot of people say you can't have, you can't run a national company out of Shreveport. You're doing it. Tell us about Precision Waste.
Well, first of all, it is possible to run a national company out of Shreveport, and it took us a while to get there. But when we started Precision Waste Solutions in 2010, my experience was in waste and recycling. We managed different types of systems. I came up through hauling companies and, made my experience there. And I was actually working for a company in California where we did something similar to what we do at Precision. And unfortunately, the 2008 market crash happened, and or housing bubble, and they struggled. So at that time, I went ahead and wrote a business plan, and it was one of the old 35-page business plans at that time. I think
Dave
a lot
loves those.
Yeah. A lot has come along since then. Yeah, and however, we hit the ground running, and our first real line of business was in retail. And we would go into shopping centers set up where we would actually rent the pad space from the mall, and then we would bill the tenants on a fair share basis of their waste and recycling. So this actually turned into a profit center for the shopping centers. However, we also were able to bring in our version of programs, and a lot of what we did was make the equipment more user-friendly for the tenants themselves. So a lot of thought goes into that, and then you also have to get the waste out as unobtrusively as possible.
Give me the kindergarten version of what you do.
All right.
Because as you explain it,
yeah, and I was getting long-winded there. So the kindergarten version of what we do. The traditional waste concept is put a container out. Most of our competitors do their best to understand, but it still has to fit a mold. And that just I never agreed with that. Mm-hmm. So what we do is go in and we focus on site on the most efficient, user-friendly program possible. And once we're able to line that out, we then subcontract the haulers or whomever is managing that particular type of service to come in and remove the waste.
So this waste this is dumpster type waste, or this is?
Well, everything.
Everything.
Everything. So we do everything from MSW, hazardous waste, special waste, and so on. And I would say for a retail type program, we go in and our specialty is working with centers where you can't see the trash, you can't smell the trash, it has to be separated, everything. So we bring in ozone odor protectors, so on and so forth to work on that. And so we get mass volumes out of small spaces without the public seeing it.
Oh,
if you want to see.
And that's the key, you need volume.
Well, we do need volume, however, we don't need extra hauls. So, and a lot of what we do is make sure our clients don't haul air. And that is a massive profit center for this industry.
You had help getting in this industry.
Yes, sir.
You had a partner. Talk to us a little bit about, how that got started, and because that's key.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so I was in Shreveport. My wife and I, she graduated centenary. We got married. By the way, happy birthday, honey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Happy birthday.
So when I wrote the business plan, I had gone to banks, I had approached investment groups, things along those lines, and it just couldn't find the deal that made sense. And I met my business partner, Robert Mackey, and he gave us an opportunity that the others they just didn't see it. And as a home builder, he had some experience with the expense of hauling waste. And, we kind of partnered up, and we are 50-50 partners in a nationally run business now that did not start that way. In the beginning, my average workday started at 7 and ended at 9 p.m. And
when someone to you uses the term dumpster fire, it's real to you, right?
Well, it's amazing. Compactors don't do what you think they would. They smolder, but we have them indoors, and in areas where. So every property we go into has an emergency plan, and we go in, all of the dumpers, the compactors have, fire ports and things along those lines, but it's a whole ordeal. The dumpster has to be hauled out of the building, taken to a parking lot, dumped. It can't be hauled down the road on fire. The first time you and I met,
when we were talking about your new path and where you're going, you literally had been dealing with a real dumpster fire indoors, okay? And I was like, wow, that's impressive.
Well, when you talk about what Precision Waste Solutions does, we go in and we take a completely different mindset on our industry. And when I say we set up user-friendly programs, that means recycling needs to be accessible to the trash service. Otherwise, people are not going to participate, so on and so forth. But some of our industrial applications, we brought in deliquefying pre-crushers. And most of our competitors haven't even heard of those. But what they do is oil filters go in the hopper, a gate is down, comes across, crushes them against the gate. The floor has a tongue and groove floor. The oil goes down into a tank and is then pumped into their master tank. So by doing all of that, they get to keep their oil.
So you're squeezing trash.
Well, in that case, squeezing locomotive oil filters to get all of the oil out of them. And that way the waste is not as environmentally a problem.
Toxic.
Toxic, yes. Yeah. So, but that's just one example of many different types of service where we go in and customize it to our clients' needs.
Wow. Right. So, and you're pretty unique in that you go in and you develop a solution to solve their problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we do take it a step further than that, where we go into the building and help with their processes. So most processes for waste have been in play for decades. And, we just go in and take a completely different mindset to it, make sure it's convenient to recycle.
But now Precision is really looking at a whole new approach.
We are, yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So if you want to just bottom line our past services, we don't haul air. It has to be convenient, and the right sub has to haul it off. So now, over the years, we've gotten into some really complicated projects, and those projects have been based on just different materials that large companies don't know what to do with. And one of them was auto fluff, auto shredder residue, and that is a massive problem in our country.
Okay, wait, auto shredder residue, what is that?
That is anything left over of the vehicle after they get all the metal out. So
that's tires,
that's wire coating, plastics, foam.
Okay, so all the metal out of the car is gone.
Yes.
And here's all this other random.
Well, and a lot of what people don't think about is, everybody focuses quite a bit on the pollution the cars cause by consuming oil-based products, gasoline, diesel, what have you. So there's still a lot of oils that have to be, there is still a lot of it that has to go into the vehicle itself. If you think about your dashboard, if you think about your tires, you think about everything else, those are plastics that are needed on a daily basis. And our biggest problem right now is what to do with them. And So auto shredder residue, it presents its complication. The largest complication is the fact that all of those materials cannot be meshed together to be recycled. So they each, in order to recycle a material, you have to have the original material that goes out to a specific process in order to recycle it. So now a good
you
example.
can't throw in a car seat and a tire in the same.
No, absolutely not. Well,
Okay.
a very good example, traditional water bottle. I have put many of these into recycling containers. The thing is, this can't be recycled as is. It's got an HDPE top. The ring is HDPE, and these are made out, everybody's labels are made out of different things. So unless you have a multi-million-dollar setup in order to separate these materials in volume, it can't be recycled. So now, under traditional means.
And that's like the number one thing
Yes.
people think about when they think of recycling. They're like, oh, a water bottle.
Absolutely.
Water
Yeah,
bottles.
that's
Absolutely.
Yeah, that goes in that bin.
And here's the thing, that water bottle and a lot of other products like that end up in the ocean.
The water bottle presents the problem with modern recycling. Is these materials cannot be recycled together. You cannot make a PPE product out of HDPE plastic. It just is what it is. So that has created a massive logistical, many problems as far as this goes. But, you know, what do you do with a rural waste system that is high volume, so on and so forth? However, what we are bringing ourselves back to is this is the example. This is our problem. Now, when you talk about something like auto shredder residue, this is the problem exponentially, because you've got wire coating, you've got all of the different products in it. Yes.
50.
So now what we are saying, and alluding to your point, Dave, what we're working our way into is all of it can be recycled together. And that is the mind-blowing part of this for our industry. We don't have to separate HDPE from PPE in order to get bio oil. Now, what we have launched ourselves into and are working very hard on is a process called pyrolysis. And I, originally was introduced to this researching the auto shredder residue. So now we have gone through several processes. We've built 2 prototypes. It is underutilized in the United States and is something many have never heard of. However, the technology goes back to ancient Egypt. And the concept is not new. However, the ability to utilize it in mass volume is new. And that's what companies like ours are working so hard on. And furthermore, with ours to go with our concept, we are working very hard to be able to do this on site for customers. And that is the big deal.
But literally, you could using your pyrolysis process, you could recycle that and put that back into syngas.
Yes. So,
which then goes back into the business, which reduces their fuel consumption and their fuel cost.
Absolutely. So also,
and that's when I finally understood where you were going and what this was really all about. I went, I get it. I understand.
Every once in a while on here, we have this moment where I go, oh my God, I can't believe that's happening in Shreveport. This is a 100% one of those.
This is real. This is real science.
Yes,
this is incredible.
Molecular biology.
It is molecular right here in Shreveport.
You can smell the science in here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
And you and I are maxed out. He's doing good.
Yeah,
okay.
I apologize about that.
No, but that's it.
But it was one drop on a sample jar.
That's incredible.
One drop. And but it is a petroleum product. So if you had crude oil or anything like that around it, you would smell the odor as well. However,
so simple understanding, factory has this waste, you get rid of it, instead of it going away being a cost to them, it can become their fuel?
Absolutely. So
that's amazing.
Now, so pyrolysis has been around for a while in the process called gasification. Now, gasification takes it there are further steps to that I don't feel are necessary. We can take the pyrolysis process, utilize the vapors that come off of that to run the system, and then either produce oil or the syngas that you mentioned.
Yep.
Now, my long-term goal is to have them where we can bring them on site for customers and literally trap the oil if that's what they want to do with it, or we can use fast pyrolysis in order to create syngas that they can either sell or utilize in a turbine generator to create electricity.
Yeah.
So, and
and I think that's probably the cleanest gas you can probably burn.
I'm not aware of one that is cleaner. I'm sure there are, but I've been focusing on how to make this convenient for our clients and how. So how do you roll something like this out? And that's the conundrum right now. We have the technology. How do we make it user friendly? And you know, I love the idea of plants in the future taking in mass volume. However, literally what we do at Precision Waste Solutions is find the most efficient equipment and make it user friendly for our clients.
Individual customer,
and
individualized service.
We are not equipment manufacturers.
Right.
We get out, we make the deals, we bring companies together, you know, make it a prosperous relationship for everybody.
Them. Yeah, that's one of the unique aspects of your whole business model is you're leveraging the industry all around you in their specific area to customize that solution.
I need to borrow that. That's great.
I mean,
that's great.
Well, yeah,
but it's exactly what we do.
And you don't need to go out and bend metal to build a container. There's somebody that can build a container.
Absolutely. And we are researching with companies all over the world. You know, we also have allies around the world that are working on advanced technologies. That said, pyrolysis is one of those, what I really love about it is you can process specific materials to come out with a specific outcome. Now, what I mean by specific materials is plastics can be processed together to create this bio oil. So, and this is the first stage after one centrifuge. So now this is kerosene, which we created after one distillation process. And we actually used an oxygen tank we had at the shop, hollowed it out. And so guys, we're making this work.
Wow.
Now, when we built our original prototype, the first thing we ran in it was auto shredder residue because that was our original goal. We did have what we found there is fast pyrolysis worked much better, and which is just pyrolysis at a much hotter rate. And when the molecules in there do break up, well, they come back together and reform as syngas, as opposed to slow pyrolysis. You get heavier vapors that travel down your system, condense down into oil. So now long term, I would prefer to see syngas created in mass volumes from our entire waste stream. So there's no reason we can't be doing that. However, baby steps. This is tires. Now, with doing tires individually, this one is friendly. You don't have to. Yeah. So that is carbon black. And the way it was described to me, the easiest way to look at it is all of the additives that go in to make any individual company's tire. So carbon black is specifically ordered by, say, well, we won't mention names, but large tire manufacturers, a recipe is created. So
using this to make the tire.
Yes,
that's right.
And so you're selling it right back to them.
Well, that's the hope, is what's called
how cool.
And that's through doing this research, we've learned about what's called the circular economy. And that's the entire principle of the circular economy, is to pull carbon black out, sell it in bulk as a wholesale item to a carbon black manufacturer that brings in the specific recipes for the end user. So now, as far as the oil goes, that can also be utilized in the process again. Yeah. So you could send that right back, and I don't have the labs or the funding to test it, but I would venture to say it would be a very usable product in remanufacturing of tires. So now, all of that said, the plastics didn't have to be separated. So this could be wire coating.
Yep.
This could be, if we put your glasses in there, per se, you would take the tabs off the back of the glasses, separate the frames, and then the frames would come out the other end. They would go down a conveyor, and what's called a cross-belt magnet would kick that over into metal recycling. So you're talking about something that would have always been thrown away because it's impossible to recycle. And so you think about that concept exponentially. So, and everything that is in our waste stream. Now, another exciting concept with pyrolysis is what you're causing in there is thermal decomposition. So we are not burning anything.
That's correct.
So the heat is outside of the container. The container or reactor is set up to where it is oxygen free. So with the external heat, what you cause in there is materials to decompose at an accelerated rate. Well, what is exciting about that?
Clean that looks.
True, and it can all be processed down to that. So I mean, that's what's so cool about it. But I get lost in different topics. But so organics that go through this process, no more greenhouse gases.
That's right. Which
So
really does
they're
away.
decomposed.
I mean,
So-
think about all those landfills out there.
Yes.
That you're spending lots of money maintaining. Okay, all of a sudden become resources for you.
Yes. So landfill mining is absolutely a huge part of the future here. And going back in
Yeah,
and
and
pulling
think
it
about
out all
idea.
of our.
And let's go back. This is real stuff being done in Shreveport, Louisiana every
is.
day by your company, and people don't know that. And
This is incredible.
this
man.
has really been good.
Congratulations.
This
and
is
awesome.
congratulations. Yeah, this is impressive. I'm happy to be here with you and help you take the next step to make this grow.
I am grateful to be here. I am proud of the work my team has done, I have done. Top of that, our first prototype, we didn't blow up the shop almost, but we're there.
I hope I'm fueling my car from some trash gas from Shreveport, Louisiana one day. That's my goal.
And I think where we go with this locally is it will be up to local support. I have designs that I have both implemented and on paper. If somebody is interested in manufacturing in Shreveport, we would love to speak with them. However, our background is in implementation and growth.
Wow.
So we would love
Dave,
to
get
partner
to
with
work.
somebody.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But
We gotta get Brandon hooked up with the right people.
Absolutely.
well, so I've actually designed in my head and put on paper, and they look like they will work, but fairly common applications that can go out to job sites and other places that we can take and deal with stockpiles and so on. But if you think about the actual possibilities here, guys, we're talking about pulling creosote out of rail ties. We're talking about materials that we all thought were being recycled and are now in foreign countries or out in the ocean. It's not necessary. It can all go in a mass system that all of our trash can go in. So if you think about the implications. Now, during our research, we found out about a landfill in Hawaii that is not accepting recyclables anymore. And the problem is plastics don't biodegrade.
That's correct.
So excuse me, let me back up. Yes, they do biodegrade, but that same water bottle that I showed earlier, that will take anywhere from 200 to 300 years to biodegrade in the landfill.
Yeah, well, you're changing that, and I'll tell you, Brandon, this is great stuff, and we're going long on time, but this is great, and I think people will be impressed just to learn that you're doing this right here in Shreveport.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and I hope to do something else with you. We need to help you get this message out.
Yeah,
more, 'cause this
well,
is really cool.
And that's a
knows
lot
this
of
is
what we're
happening.
doing right now is getting out. We built the prototype because we felt that passionate about it. Okay. And there are alternatives. And
Definitely.
I think that's what we're here to say is, and we're going to keep researching more alternatives. And, pyrolysis can be done with microwaves, plasma, all sorts of different things that, that we can do.
Well,
so
great. Well, thank you for coming.
Guys, thank you for having me.
Man,
So-
awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon.